welcome to my channel. I'm Victoria, and today I did this super sparkly pink look, and I did it using the Venus 3 palette from Lime Crime. I figured a lot of people would probably be scooping this up because it was on sale for the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty one day, and I just thought it was so pretty. I mean, to be honest, I pretty much bought it for this color right here, but actually all of them are quite beautiful. So, I hope you guys enjoy the look. I added a green on the lower lash line that was not from that palette. I actually used the Too Faced Chocolate Gold palette for the dark green in it for the lower lash line, but you could go ahead and use, the sparkly green from the Jaclyn Hill Morphe palette, or the Kat Von D Metal Matte palette, or a lot of the Balm palettes have a sparkly green in them, so use whatever sparkly green. It really doesn't matter. So I hope you like this look and enjoy the tutorial. Bye.
Alright guys, so let's get started. To prime the skin today, I'm using the Stila One Step Correct Primer. This is actually one of my all-time favorite primers. It's super moisturizing and feels so good on the skin, and it makes your skin literally look like glass once you have like foundation on. And I can wear this primer for like 12 hours and my foundation will still look amazing. So this is like seriously like the best primer ever. Next, I'm applying the Too Faced Peachy Matte Foundation. This is a very, very matte foundation, so if you prefer something more dewy, I suggest you get something else. But if you're trying to hide blemishes, or you just prefer matte foundations, or you're going to be, photographed a lot under hot lights and you're going to be very sweaty, then obviously matte foundation is good. But yeah, this one's pretty decent. Then I'm going in with the Estee Lauder Double Wear Concealer. I really like the tone of this concealer. It's very yellowy. It's quite beautiful, and the concealer feels like super creamy and dewy. It's super crazy weird texture. So I'm just going to blend that in with the Beauty Blender. I'm making sure not to get the concealer too close to my under eye. Like I said last time, you really don't want to put a ton of concealer in those under eye lines. And then I'm also making sure to avoid the inner corner of the eye. I'm using a little concealer on the sponge to prime my eyelids, but I'm making sure not to go too close to the nose because I have these like vertical little wrinkly lines that will like show if I put concealer over them or eyeshadow primer or anything over it. Then I'm setting the concealer with the Laura Mercier Translucent Setting Powder. I'm applying this pretty heavily because I thought that the Venus palette was going to have like a ton of fallout, so I was making sure to like really layer it up, but it actually surprisingly did not have a lot of fallout at all. So here we go with the Venus 3 palette. We're starting out with Dreamy. We're taking a fluffy brush and we're just blending this all into the transition area. Take your time, start slow. I went into the palette probably 5 times, like dipped back in, applied it, dipped back in, applied it 5 times per eye. So just like take your time, build it up slowly, and then just focus on really blending it out and making sure you're not applying the pigment unevenly or anything like that. Just be slow, take your time. Next, I'm going in with the shade Bliss. I'm taking a slightly less fluffy brush and I'm applying that to the crease in the outer V area. Again, start very slow, windshield wiper motions back and forth, work it into the crease, work it down towards the lower lash line, and just blend that color thoroughly through the crease area. I applied this one probably 3 times. I dipped into the palette 3 times per eye. I know that helps a lot of people knowing like how many times you dip back into the palette, because you just see how pigmented it looks like after, applying eyeshadow for like 5 minutes. The camera never really shows like how many times you really have to dip back into the palette. Then I took Ecstasy, which is like a purpley brown shade, and I'm just deepening up the whole outer V area even more. I only dipped back into this like twice because it's actually really pigmented, and of course because since it's brown. And yeah, so I just blended that all up. After I have it applied to the outer V like pretty thoroughly, I also just take a brush with no additional product and just blend it throughout the crease area to really diffuse it all and make it look super blended and seamless. This part's very important or it's going to be a little choppy and you're going to see the different like layers in which you applied the eyeshadow. So always just go over it and make sure it's all smooth. I then took Beam, which is this super, super sparkly light purple shade, and it has like these tiny little pieces of like hot pink glitter in it. It's so, so beautiful. And I'm applying that with a MAC 242 brush. And I did use MAC Fix Plus to wet the shadow first because I always, always, always apply my shimmery or foiled shadows wet. I just think they're so much easier to work with and you can really like shape out your lid and everything if the shadow is wet opposed to dry. But yeah, this shade is just seriously amazing. It feels super slippery, like when you go to swatch it, and it's just like so crazy. I love it. It's almost like a pressed pigment opposed to like a foiled shadow. So what I always do is like apply it wet, then go over with some dry product on top of it. Then I took Paradise, which is a less glittery shade, but it's still shimmery and it's just like a grape jelly purple. It's very pretty. It almost has like a violet kind of reflect in it. It's very beautiful. And I'm applying that to like the second half of the lid. And I'm just going back and forth, building it up. I wet my brush with Fix Plus for this shadow as well. Then I'm highlighting the brow bone with MAC Nylon. Yeah, I'm really just not a fan of the like highlight shade in the Venus 3 palette because it has like little micro glitter in it and that just doesn't work for me for a brow bone highlight. I like it to just be like frosty, not glittery whatsoever. Then I'm going back in with Ecstasy and Bliss mixed together on a flat definer brush and I'm just smushing that next to the lower lash line very slowly. This is just to get a base down so that the lower lash line can meet up and match the rest of the eye. So then I'm taking like a fluffy blender brush and I'm just blending out all the shadow I put there and making sure it like hits where the eyeshadow stops on the upper lid. So just make sure there's no gap between the lower lash line and upper lash line. So just take your time, blend that out. Next, I'm taking the Too Faced Chocolate Gold palette and I'm using Money Bags, which is a sparkly green. And I, of course, wet the shadow with Fix Plus. And it's just like just a beautiful, deep, sparkly green. You can use whatever sparkly green you want. It doesn't have to be this one. This is just one of my favorites. And just take your time like everything else and build up the green shade. Put it with a definer brush and just like apply a little more, a little more, a little more at a time until it's a thick enough line for you, and then blend out the edges with a like little pencil brush. Then I applied mascara and I Lure Luxe Silk Marquee Lashes. So for bronzer, I'm going in with the Too Faced Milk Chocolate Soleil bronzer. This is a very pale bronzer. I love it. Especially if you're very fair, you're just going to love it. It's very similar to like the Hoola Light bronzer. So I take this all over the forehead, the cheekbones. Then I take the Too Faced just regular Milk Chocolate Soleil bronzer. This is a lot deeper and it's very, very cool toned, so I use it as a contour shade. I just stamp some product on the brush and then I literally just like heavily apply it just like 2 inches from the ear into like the cheekbone area, just like pretty much just stamp a bunch of product on. I don't focus on blending it out yet. I'm just getting an equal amount of product on both sides. And then I take what's left on the brush and I just like stamp a bit into the forehead just to like make the bronzer and contour all like really blend together. And then I just super vigorously blend in that powder the bronzer that I put down 2 seconds ago that I stamped down. I just take my time and I super just blend it out and blend it out and blend it out and blend it out. But I find when you take a lighter shade and then a darker shade to really contour your face, it looks so beautiful. So you should definitely try taking 2 shades to contour instead of just using, one contour shade or one bronzer shade or whatever. And just really take your time, make sure you really get in there and just blend it out beautifully. Then I'm taking Tarte Insightful Blush, which is just a peachy nudie blush. I'm making sure not to apply it too close to the center of my face. That can make you look a little bit clownish and very like harsh. And it can also make your face look too red, almost like as if your foundation is actually too dark. So you need to be careful not to apply the blush too close to the center of the face. So I like to blend it back into the bronzer and contour area and just blend it into the skin. Then I'm taking the Makeup Revolution highlighter palette, the lighter one, because there's two different versions. There's a lighter one and a darker one. I'm using the lighter one, of course. I'm mixing the purpley highlight shade with the white highlighter shade in the palette. It's super frosty, super beautiful. And then for the bridge of the nose, I took the golden color in the palette. And I only highlight just the very bridge of the nose. I hate like highlighting the tip of my nose. I just like the very bridge of the nose. I think it looks so beautiful. Then I am setting my face with the Garnier Skin Active Soothing Facial Mist. This isn't going to like set your makeup in the sense that it's going to like prolong the wear or anything like that. And it doesn't really make you dewy either. It just very lightly hydrates the skin and then just helps like any leftover powder that was left on the face. It just absorbs it up and helps it just sink into the foundation. I really like it. I don't have oily skin, so I don't have a problem with my makeup lasting. So you might want to use something else if you do have very oily skin. Then I'm taking the Too Faced Melted Liquefied Longwear Lipstick in the shade Fig, and I'm just applying that. It's like a very purpley color. And that's the final look. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, I hope you have a great one. Bye.